We're back. I'm sitting down with Robert Picardo. You recognize this guy from things like Star Trek Voyager, The Wonder Years, China Beach, so much more. And a funny thing happened on the way to the forum right here at Oklahoma City Repertory Theatre.
That's right, and I'm performing with some guy named Lucas Ross, who I understand is
yeah. He's not
no,
very
he's
good.
really pretty wonderful. He's,
Well,
I'm having a great time. He plays my my co-slave. We have to, as you know, we fight together quite a bit. Have a lot of physical comedy together.
We do, and I do have to say, you're pretty rough. It's a lot of method acting. Is that what that's called?
It's no, it's just the way I feel about you. I think I'm usually quite easy on other actors, but there's something about you that just makes me want to pummel you. I don't know what it is.
I don't think you're the only one that feels that way.
You know, as an actor, I consider myself a student of human behavior, and I can read body language like a book. And I look at you, and I see thinly disguised terror all the time. Either that, or you have to go to the bathroom all the time. I can't tell. It's one or the other, but there's something right under the surface. There's something very electric going on.
They're telling me that, yeah, you nailed it 100%. Okay, well, I was going to ask you, you've got this amazing career from stage and screen. If people didn't know, you were on Broadway on stage?
The show that I did with Jack Lemmon was called Tribute, and I played his son. He was, Jack was in his early, mid-50s. It was an amazing experience. If I could wish any young actor to work with someone like Jack Lemmon, I would wish them that experience. He'd been a movie star for 25 years. He was totally gracious to me. He was terrific in the play, and all of our major scenes were with each other, so it was an extraordinary life experience.
How old were you when you did that?
24. I was exactly 30 years younger than him, and now I'm working in a young company with a funny thing. I'm not counting you, by the way, among the young, but it's a predominantly young company, and to have that experience of sort of my chance, perhaps, to be a little bit in the mentoring role to all these wonderful young performers. It's a really terrific circle of life experience.
Well, it's a blast having you here, and we're honored that you've chosen Oklahoma. How did you end up here to do this? Anyway?
In Oklahoma, I got on the wrong plane, frankly. No, I met Don Jordan, who is who runs the Oklahoma City Rep, 4 or 5 years ago through the stage manager. The stage manager, Steve, and I had done a project in New York. He asked me to come and do a fundraiser for Oklahoma City Rep, which I did, which went very well. I really enjoyed getting acquainted with the theater, and I made a pledge back then that I would come one day and work there. So now, 6 years later, I'm coming through with my promise.
They held you accountable for it.
They held me at gunpoint, actually.
Well, everybody knows you from so many things. I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask you.
As long as they're not Star Trek questions, Lucas, I answer a lot of those. So I presume you have.
Yeah, I do. I know I had something in here.
There's one that's not.
Oh, yes, you were on an episode of Golden Girls. What was that like?
It was great. B. Arthur is hilarious. She's a master of comic timing. It was terrific. You can ask me a Star Trek question. Go ahead. You're allowed to ask me a question.
You go to these conventions all the time. I see you tweeting out. You're at Comic Cons all over the place. And what is the craziest thing that you've had to autograph?
I had one fan who had carved my face in a headstone, a tombstone, a marble tombstone. He apparently carved tombstones for a living. He carved my image in the tombstone and gave it to me as a gift. And I looked at him like, I don't quite understand why you're giving me this. I said, does this mean you think Star Trek is the death of my career? And he said, no, I just wanted to give you a present. And it was hard getting it home because, of course, I had to carry it in my carry-on bag. So in airport security, when they open your bag and you're carrying your own tombstone, they ask you questions. They figure, would you have a funny feeling about the flight, or you just prepared, no matter what happens. But I carried the tombstone home, and it sat in my garden for years.
You got to work with Jack Lemmon, B. Arthur. Who was one of the great? Is there one standalone actor that was the greatest that you ever got to work with?
I actually brought a clip of me working with an actor that I've always had tremendous admiration for.
Okay, well, let's take a look.
A hologram you created. A hologram who owes you his existence. Is that what's keeping you here? Some twisted sense of obligation? Well, let me assure you, you don't owe me anything.
Doctor?
Yes, Haley, what is it?
I mean, it's hard to touch an experience like that. Having the opportunity to work with an actor like me was one that I will never forget. I found myself very challenging, very gracious, demanding, but always giving to myself.
It's weird. He looks just like the guy that I'm in a play with right now.
Yeah, I only wish you could come up to, well, never mind.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Hey, for everybody out there, don't miss this show. And I'm happy and honored to get to be a footnote in this production with the amazing Robert Picardo. Check it out. You can
He
go
is
to,
hilarious in the show.
Hey,
Don't let him sell himself short. He is hilarious, and you must come see him.
well, I think you make it easy. Go to cityrep.com for tickets. It plays from the 19th through the 21st, then a matinee on the 22nd. You have no excuse. Robert, thanks so much. Oh, and a viewer was wondering if you could beam out. Is that too much to ask you?
I'll tell you what. Well, that worked beyond my expectations. We'll be back with more Rise and Shine.